Okay, so we're now recording. So since the third lockdown, we've decided to pick up our COVID Coffee series, which is powered by Invest Ottawa, and we're thrilled and very privileged today to have a friend from across the river join us, Ronald Pichet, who is a senior advisor in investment attraction at ID Gatineau. So welcome, Ronald, and I really appreciate you taking the time today and being our first, I guess, COVID Coffee 3.0 guest. How are you?
Hi, Oliver. Hi, Lindsay. I'm fine. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you, Ronald, and I really appreciate it. So for people that don't know, just give us a quick introduction about who you are and what your role is within ID Gatineau. Because not many people know about ID Gatineau, and I certainly wasn't aware of the organization until a few weeks ago, and I'm learning all the time. So it'll be great to understand you and what you do.
Certainly. So ID Gatineau is the acronym for Investment and Development Gatineau. We're the economic development organization for the city of Gatineau, and we follow that classic model of we're basically financed by the city and mandated by the city to see to its economic development. My role within the organization is investment attraction. So basically to bring some fresh new companies, exciting companies into the city. The type of companies that we work with, just to follow up quickly in terms of what we do a little bit more specifically, is work with growth companies, companies that are able to invest and create jobs. So they'll generally be, well, obviously all of the IT sector, the technology sector, all of the manufacturing sector, basically any company that has products or services that they'll be selling outside of the city is a company we're certainly interested in working with.
So that opens it up to what sounds like a lot of companies, Ronald. On that note, I guess, can you speak about what are some of the main fiscal policies of the Quebec government? You must be very, very familiar with that.
Well, certainly the government of Quebec is a major partner for the city, for ourselves at ID Gatineau. And the reason that we enjoy working, well, there are many reasons we enjoy working with them, but part of that is they've created some of the most innovative, exciting fiscal policies that you'll find anywhere. Some of those tax credit programs that they have are absolutely fascinating to be able to
and not
address.
To interrupt you, some of those have been around for a long time.
They have. I'll address a couple of them. Bring that up on the screen. So the first one I can point to is the CDAE, Crédit d'impôt pour affaires électroniques, and this one, it has been around for a while. It applies to any technology company that has at least 6 programmers writing code, which is a lot of companies. And what it does is it basically provides a refundable or a tax credit equal to 30% of each salary of each person writing code. And 24% of that 30% is fully refundable. 6% goes against future earnings. And it plateaus at $25,000 per head. So what that means, just to highlight an example, if a company or when a company has 8 programmers on its payroll working in Quebec and has qualified for the CDAE program, they'll see $200,000 back into their pockets every year moving forward. So it's quite exciting. The second one I can point to is the multimedia title tax credit. It's actually even more generous, if that's believable. So it refunds, fully refundable 37.5% of all eligible labor costs.
Wow.
With no maximum. So companies that are developing multimedia titles, all of the gaming industry, which explains much of the success of the province in that sector. And Gatineau being part of the province, the same policies apply here as they would anywhere else. So certainly quite exciting and something that companies, once they've discovered that, they certainly enjoy being able to participate and benefit from that. I'll speak a little bit about financing as well. The government of Quebec has centralized its financing programs under one umbrella organization, Investissement Québec. There used to be different corporations or whatever handling financing earlier. Now they're pretty well all finance centralized under Investissement Québec, and they have a multitude of programs. And I guess the message I'd like just basically simply make is that the government of Quebec really doesn't want financing to be a hurdle or a stumbling block for any good business project that's out there. So anybody with a sound project can certainly speak with us, and we'll be partnering with Investissement Québec to be able to get into a make it happen type of mentality.
You mentioned the multimedia landscape there, Ronald, and I think is it Ubisoft that have a major presence in the Montreal market as an example as to some of the major players in that sector within the Quebec province?
Correct. Yeah, Montreal, Ubisoft in Montreal, and we have at least two companies that set up shop in the last few years in Gatineau. One was a very small startup company here that got taken over by a California firm. And once the LA-based company saw what it meant to be able to work here, they basically left the company here. They started out with 2 people. Last year, they had expanded to 6, and this year they're planning to double their payroll here, their development team. So it's a good equation. It's a good working environment. The talent is excellent, and the cost structure is right.
So on that note, then, what other initiatives have you been kind of tasked with in order to position Gatineau for success going forward? I mean, you've mentioned the multimedia sector as an example, but what other companies or what other kind of specialty sectors are you actually going after to be able to attract investment into the Gatineau region right now?
Good question. Essentially, we've decided to focus on cybersecurity mostly. So cybersecurity is the key buzzword in Gatineau right now. To be able to center that geographically, the city is developing an innovation zone. So that's the concept's been launched, and we're now working on that actively, giving it some form. I'll bring the presentation back on the screen just to be able to show us, our viewers, geographically and physically what we're speaking about. So the innovation zone will have 3 pillars geographically. The Zibi site, which is extremely exciting. The buildings are going up as we speak on both sides of the river.
You know that development well, Ronald.
You should, I would imagine. At term, we're talking about 6,000 employees, 5,000 people living there. The only One Planet certified infrastructure project anywhere in North America, I believe. So absolutely exciting. The second point of the triangle, l'UQO, l'Université du Québec en Outaouais, is our Gatineau University. And the last few years have seen l'UQO developing its cybersecurity program for students. They've been scaling that up quickly. They've just signed a partnership deal with l'INRS, Institut National de Recherche Scientifique. This year, 3 new PhD researchers are coming in to be able to partner and work with them. So it's an exciting time in terms of on the educational front. The third point of the triangle, La Fonderie, is a historic industrial site. It's being renovated right now. So this is more of a medium-term site for us, 3 or 4 years away from being fully ready, but work is progressing right now. So geographically, we're all within 15, 20 minutes of walking distance from one point to the other, smack downtown, so right across the river from downtown Ottawa. So exciting things happening there. In terms of the services, to be able to follow through with the type of projects that are coming on board or have come on board already, when I'm mentioning cybersecurity, we've got Silex, our incubator innovator that's physically located at the university. So it's our prime spot for our startup community, and they're taking businesses in right now. They're a going concern. We've got the Digital Identity Laboratory of Canada that was established last year. This is very exciting. It's a new initiative. It's the spot for business to be able to develop and test their new products in a sandbox environment, to be able to ensure that those products will be interoperable in any jurisdiction. So this is something that's quite unique, fresh, basically fresh off the drawing board. They've just celebrated their first anniversary, and they're doing some exciting things. We've got Cyber Québec. This is at our college level, the Cégep de l'Outaouais. The Cégep is part of the college system in the province. The province at that level has set up a series of what they call CCTTs, Collegial Centers for Technology Transfer. There are 57 different CCTTs in the province. Each one has a specific area of expertise. Only one of these is in cyber, and that one is in Gatineau. So again, in terms of being able to conduct research that will be applicable and working with business, and also training the workforce, the manpower for the future, that again is happening in Gatineau. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention InsectM, the organization that's home to basically to the cybersecurity industry in Canada, to be able to help the entire industry come together as a cluster. So InsectM has been a going concern for the last 3 or 4 years now, and they're headquartered in Gatineau. So again, a lot of interesting things, a lot of real things that have been happening and continue to develop, and we're seeing these new announcements quite regularly right now.
So that's interesting. So those are all resources that are available to entrepreneurs in Gatineau. That's amazing.
Yep. So it focuses on cyber. Obviously, it extends from that. So we're certainly not shy about wanting to work with the other technology sectors or manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, but to be able to have to put a finger on a central point. The key word, I guess, again, is cybersecurity.
Sure. We're gonna give you an opportunity for a bit of brag and boast now. What are some of your favorite examples of success stories that have been a part of the program, or maybe not? I mean, Oliver and I are aware of a few larger companies that have grown and had good success in Gatineau, but what are the ones that you like to talk about?
Well, what can you talk about?
Just off the top, to name a few, a couple. First one that comes to mind, and there are many, but Blue Bear LES in forensic cybersecurity, and they're basically working with police forces right across the planet, helping to bring the bad guys to justice and keep the internet a safer place. Macadamian, another homegrown company in the digital health field. Solacom and 911 call center technology, another homegrown company that has expanded and does well year over year. Smith Labs in virtual reality, enhanced reality, working with some of the biggest corporations on the planet, selling them their technology. So all these are homegrown companies. In terms of companies coming into Gatineau, I can speak about the RIA Group. RIA Group, basically space engineering company that also works heavily in cybersecurity. And 2 years ago, they decided that Gatineau was the ideal spot for their next security operations center, and that's now a going operation in Gatineau. I should speak about Telesat, I guess. Some of the most exciting news that we've had this year, the Telesat Lightspeed project. Telesat wanting to set up a whole network around the globe of low orbiting satellites, and their command control center for that is going to be in Gatineau with a laboratory, cybersecurity operations center, well over 300 engineering jobs that are coming on board with that. So a lot of companies, a lot of exciting announcements.
Yeah, agreed.
And that's a perfect, it's such an exciting announcement when we heard it. And that's a kind of a perfect segue, I guess, Ronald, into my next question. And I didn't know this, but with the Telsat situation, which is prime, you've got an Ottawa-based company that's now looking to leverage the Quebec, or the province of Quebec, and obviously the region of Gatineau, but the whole NCR. So how do you try to collaborate with I guess your peers over at Invest Ottawa, the guys that basically exactly the same as what you do? They support entrepreneurs, but is there any collaboration, direct or indirect, between the two of you?
That's an excellent question, Oliver, and thanks for that. Because actually, it's funny because most people assume that we just compete, because companies could set up in Ottawa, they can set up in Gatineau. Telesat shows us, and Zivi shows us that they can be on both sides and do extremely well. And but anyway, the bottom line is we really collaborate 100 times more than we compete, and we just love to work with Invest Ottawa. My counterparts in Invest Ottawa, we work with them regularly. We've set up a hub for cybersecurity. There's a website that basically identifies Ottawa Gatineau as the place for cybersecurity. That site markets all of the companies on either side of the river. So we basically market the region, because Gatineau is 300,000 strong in population. Ottawa's roughly 1 million. And basically what that makes for companies is one economic ecosystem. Because when they come in here, whether they're in Ottawa or in Gatineau, their human resources can be on either side, and it doesn't matter. People cross the bridges both ways every day, and it's great for everybody. So when we collaborate to help bring a company in, and there have been many examples of that, the region benefits, and it's good business on both sides. And the cybersecurity hub is a prime example of that.
Yeah, no, they're both complementary units, basically. One's funded by the city of Ottawa, one's funded by the city of Gatineau, but there's one common theme here, and it's investment into the National Capital Region, right? So for the benefit of everybody. So no, it's great that there is
even when we're not crossing the bridges.
Sorry, because we're not allowed to, correct?
Yeah. And sometimes it's just to be able to come and do some cross-country skiing or some mountain biking in Gatineau Park for you folks, and which is great.
Yeah.
So on that note, we've learned. We continue to learn everything there is to know about Gatineau in terms of it's an exciting region. It's a region that is quite often it kind of falls behind the message that Ottawa puts out there, but it's growing, and there's a lot of investment. There's a lot of excitement around what the province of Quebec are doing. So if you could kind of give us a value statement for whenever we talk to companies in our daily lives, obviously global companies looking to invest in the NCR. Tell us, I guess, 5 or 6 things about why Gatineau, if you were to kind of just, statements, just bold, outlandish statements. So, Ronald, why Gatineau?
In terms of choosing again, I'll speak, several points. One would be the Gatineau, Ottawa Executive Airport, an airport that has an AOE 15 certification, so Airport of Entry 15, which means international flights will get customs clearance at the airport. Has a 6,000-foot runway that can accommodate 737 passenger planes or Hercules cargo planes. So between it and the Ottawa International Airport, we've really got air travel covered fully. Both of these airports, either one is 20 minutes away from Parliament Hill, roughly, so equidistant. So the ground is totally covered at that level. Our Adirondack Industrial Park, adjacent to the airport, off Highway 50. Again, we're talking about 20 minutes from Parliament Hill. Several million square feet of prime industrial land for development. Some gems are going up right now this year. Several projects are happening as we speak. and a lot of prime land still available there to be for just waiting for that next development project. The hydro, being in Quebec, I have to mention hydroelectricity. Being on the Quebec side means we have some of the most affordable and in terms of quantity, very high level of quantity, high level of very cost efficient. So Gatineau is an ideal space for data center projects, and we have had a major data center project in the last few years, and it's an area of interest. And so the point I guess to make is if it's good for a data center, it's good for a lot of companies at that level. And I guess another point I can make is in terms of quality of life. When we're talking quality of life, people in my business, everybody talks about quality of life in their cities and their neck of the woods type of thing. In Gatineau, it's not just a blanket statement; it's a truism. And case in point, something I've tested myself many times. When I'm in a room with say 8 or 10 people, if I'm in a room say with 8 people, and at one point I'll ask how many are originate from outside of Gatineau, and invariably the response is going to be 5, 6, 7 people. And that basically speaks to the point that Gatineau is a young, vibrant city that people move into. And once they've come here, either for, a lot of people came here to study originally, Ottawa U or UCO or whatever. So they came here to study, or they came here to work. But essentially, they fell in love with the city, and they're basically making a good life here. They're raising their families here. And where that's really pertinent to our conversation here is that it is simply because businesses today, in today's world, they live and die by the quality of their human resources. So once they've set up shop in Gatineau or are operating in Gatineau, it means that their people will be happy, and they'll be enjoying their work, and they'll be enjoying basically their lives in terms of being able to work, live, and play in a community that's great for them. So in terms of in today's environment, that's as good as it gets for a corporate environment.
Super important.
Yeah. No, and when we talk about Ottawa now, I mean, I'm in 16 years in Canada from the UK. When I talk about Ottawa now, I talk about the NCR, the whole National Capital Region, and the Gatineau Ottawa effect, and I believe it's coming, it's becoming a lot more prevalent now in terms of resonating with our client base, right? And a shameless plug here for Lindsay and I, but ZB kind of helps to bridge that gap, right? It kind of breaks down the barrier, like Ontario, Quebec. So hopefully people start to realize that there's some real complementary synergies there between the provinces. There's flexibility, there's options, and there's serious backing behind these innovation zones from the provincial government, which will help break down some of these barriers for foreign investors to kind of come in and set up shop and really experience, the whole city of Gatineau. So I really appreciate your time today. It's been great to get to know you over the past few weeks, and I'm sure that we'll continue to get to know one another. And thank you again for being our first guest on the revamped 3.0 version of COVID Coffee. So thank you, Ronald, and have a great weekend.
My thanks as well. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Ronald. Thanks for doing this.